back to the Mining Mum podcast. I am Tegan, your host, and today I have Scott here with me. Scott is a leadership coach and he has had an amazing career in the mining industry, which we're going to dive into and see how he became to be this passionate leader and coach that he is today. So thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's an absolute privilege.
Oh, thank you. So tell me about Scott, where you grew up and, you know, your life before mining.
Oh, it's not very exciting, but I'll tell you. So I was born in WA, but I at a young age went over to Queensland. So I'm actually a Gold Coast boy. Grew up on the Gold Coast,
yes.
Like my surfing, love my son, love the beach, absolutely lived for the beach. Don't tell them we've got better beaches over here.
Yeah.
And the sunsets. Sunsets are amazing over here.
Yeah.
Nice and simple. Grew up in Queensland mainly, and then I moved over here when I discharged from the army and wanted to reconnect with my family. So that's probably where I grew up. But in terms of life before mining, that's so straight out of high school. Well, towards the end of high school, I was a bit lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And being a simple-minded person, I didn't think about the future. So I can't recall exactly how, but I decided I wanted to enlist in the army. And I originally applied for Black Hawk pilot.
Awesome. That sounds exciting. Yeah.
Maybe I was too much of a fan of Top Gun or something. I don't know. But I actually failed the medical because at the time you had to have a sitting height of less than 100 centimetres, and being a tall, lanky bloke, it just wasn't in the criteria. So I decided to join in infantry.
Yeah.
So I got to play armies for real. And I started part-time and then transferred full-time. I found that it was actually I really thrived. And I really enjoyed it. So I did that for a mix between part-time and full-time for about 6 years.
Wow.
And in Queensland.
Yeah.
And obviously we deploy and go on exercises and training across the country, but primarily in Queensland. And that was really cool because it gave me a foundation for life skills. It gave me structure, discipline, but actually taught me the value of camaraderie. Right? So that was really cool. And I never realized it at the time. That's more reflective. When I discharged, I discharged and came over to Western Australia because I'd been away from my family for a while. They all relocated back here. And so I wanted to reconnect with them. I actually, I think it was about 6 months prior to discharging, I went to Bali for my younger brother's wedding.
Nice.
And that, it's always nice, isn't it? And what I saw there was the relationship between my older brother and my younger brother, and it made me realize I'd missed out on something here. My family was in green for this period, and I'd realized that my blood family I wasn't connecting with, so I wanted to reconnect with them. And so that's why I moved over to WA, discharged. And didn't know what to do. The army was part of my identity, but I ended up finding myself working in mining for just a short period. I ended up working for HWE Mining.
Oh, yeah,
right? It was during a boom. You get a job left, right and centre, right? So
what were you doing?
I walked straight into plant operator.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, at Yandy for HWE. So at the time they were subcontracted to BHP. Spent about 13 months there. I was there for 6 months and it was just, I couldn't believe it actually. It was a massive shock for me because I think the first week I'd done all the inductions. You get smashed with inductions at the time. And then I'd gone out into the fixed plant and I was hosing down. I was given a task to go and do an inspection and hose down a crusher. And I'm like still in army mode. So I'm hosing this crusher down to like its original colour. You know, and it was like I said, it was a massive culture shock because I had these guys that had been in mining for their entire lives. And one of them came and tapped me on the shoulder and called me into the control room at the office. And I actually thought I was in trouble for something. So I've gone into the office and he started making himself a coffee and I'm sitting there waiting for something. And after a while, I'm like, did you want to speak to me about something?
Yeah.
And he goes, make yourself a coffee. I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. I just want to finish this job. He goes, no. Stop.
Calm down.
Yeah. I was like, what? He goes, no, it's raining. We don't work in the rain. I look outside and it's like a couple of drops coming down. I'm like, you serious? He goes, yeah. So it's still like quite a unionised mentality. That was a huge shock to me. And there was a few other things that came in. After about 6 months in mining, it was very straightforward. and just so simple. I was just thinking, what have I done my whole life? This
Yeah.
is so easy.
Yeah, and what was the pay like? Totally.
Oh my gosh, it was like
Not like,
it was like 120 grand or something. I don't know. And I just come from a government army wage.
Yeah.
That's what makes this next part all ridiculous, because I was just thinking, like, I'm getting a massive wage for doing what felt like half of the stress and pressure that I had previously. Nobody's trying to kill me. You know? So,
yeah, exactly.
nobody's yelling at me to tell me to go and exercise. But yeah, it was a huge culture shock. And I felt like a bit of an outsider because almost every person around me had 10, 15, 20 years in mining, had all come from gold or nickel or something, and they'd worked their way into iron ore because it was perceived as like the rich man's mining.
Yeah.
I think that was a term that was thrown around a lot. But I actually left and joined the police because my dad, he got cancer.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, here I've come to WA to try and connect my family, and
you're doing
2-in-1,
Yeah.
It's not really helping. So yeah, I applied for the police. It was a natural progression from the military. And they loved it. They basically want me in straight away. So it took about 12, 13 months, and then left mining, went into WA police. Was in WA police for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And full confession here, I joined the police thinking that I wanted to just catch baddies, like chase down criminals and all that sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, that's fun.
Yeah.
But where I really found that I loved policing was actually when you're, I don't know how this is going to sound, but it's when you're supporting somebody who is a good person and they've just had something that's probably the worst day of their lives.
Yeah.
And being there for somebody to provide care and whatever you can do to help them, it's incredibly rewarding to know that you can do that.
Yeah.
So I found that was probably the thing I really loved the most. And that's been carried on through mining as well, to be completely frank. But it takes its toll.
Yeah.
And there was a few things that happened towards my fourth year. I had a lot of exposure in the police to lots of different things. Wasn't a fan of traffic stuff. But, I worked at major crash investigation for a little while. I worked at police rail unit for a little while. Yeah. Midland detectives for a little bit. But a lot of it was general duty stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots of variety. I had one day where I was office based in the front counter of the Midland police station. And by the end of it, we had a guy firing a shotgun out the back window of his car. So
oh my gosh.
Lots of diversity.
Yeah.
But like I said, it takes its toll.
Yeah.
And a few things happened all in series in one particular day or week, I can't recall. And I ended up bumping into a fellow who I used to work with in HWE. And when I tapped him on the shoulder, the first thing he did was turn around and look at me and said, "Holy shit, Scott, they gave you a gun." And then he planted the seed about coming back into mining.
Wow, yeah.
And thought about it for a little while, and I decided that I probably did want to leave the police because of how much it was impacting me.
Yeah.
And I had a choice between going into mining or actually going to the fireys. It was both were on the table, and I decided mining. Yeah. And that's how I got into mining. That was 2010.
Wow. So crazy. I have always thought, like, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, which is heaps of different things, but I always had thought about, I love the idea of going to the police and I'm a detective. Like, I'm a researcher. I will know everything inside and out. But then, the toll that it takes must be pretty hard. Yeah. And I guess that's probably what you were facing with the fireys too. It's very similar kind of work in the sense that you're supporting people, but you also see the harsh realities of life too.
You're right. There was a day I had that contrasted the fireys and the police. And I don't know what it's like now. This is years ago. I'm getting older now. And we had this fire that we responded to that was suspected as arson. And so as police, we were there to secure the scene, and we were there for the 8 hours until the next shift came over and took off. So just sitting there watching to make sure this scene was preserved and didn't flare up. And while we were there in the initial response, the fireys responded to obviously put it out. They also had this chaplain rock up with a van and provided welfare to them and checking in to make sure they're right. And he just looked over to us like we were lost puppies and was like, "Are you guys okay? Would you like something?" And it did make me realise just the contrast of the two things, both under the same government, but different systems in place for welfare and care for people.
Yeah.
So that's where I went, maybe I would go towards the fireys, but
Yeah.
then I chased the dollars, I suppose, is probably the biggest one because I
Yeah.
went straight back in as an operator.
Yeah. So you went back in operating, and then when did you decide? Sorry, I'll just quickly
You're
stop
right.
that. So you went back into mining, then back into operating. What was the transition like? And then what was your kind of next moves into heading towards a leader?
Oh, yeah, good question. It's so when I went into mining again, I was kind of a bit lost. I hadn't historically been one that's gone, this is the pathway I'm going down. So I kind of just did what was the next thing in front of me and got pulled in different directions. So when I went into mining, it was still HWE at this particular point. And I think Leighton's had bought out HWE, that became HWE Mining. And then a year or so later, BHP decided they changed the strategy and they went, we're going to own an operator.
Yeah.
And so we went through that transition. As they did that, HWE had also brought in a program that was a peer-to-peer safety, behavioral-based safety program. And I was asked to be the safety facilitator for our area. So that got me into probably the first part of safety. And I thought I was going to go down a safety pathway, given risk management experience and exposure through Army and Police is quite significant.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the path I was going to go down. Then after doing that for about maybe 18 months and the shift to a different safety program with field leadership in BHP, they were phasing that arm out, or that safety stream out. And I had a tap on the shoulder from a superintendent who said, hey, look, would you like to come over and be a supervisor? At first I was like, I love what I'm doing. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, that's a compliment if he's asking me to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should give it a crack. And so that was the first time I was put in a mining leadership role. But I didn't think of it as leadership. It was just a supervisor role. But it ended up being leadership because of how you influence people.
Yes.
And so I was a supervisor for probably about 5 years or so. And during this time, we had a general manager who put a lot of value in developing people. And so he organised a leadership coach to go around to all the superintendents and supervisors across the entire site, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just spend a bit of time with them. And so he sat down with me, and I don't know if I want to paint this picture or not, but at the time I just finished Movember. I had a mohawk. I had this really horrible looking facial fungus. And I even had an eyebrow piercing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was clearly rebelling against my history.
Classic Aussie mining.
I know, right? How to fit in.
Yeah.
And I had this ear piercing as well. It kind of looked like one of those big circular earrings.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was talking to me and he said, look, what do you want to do? And I said, I didn't know. And he started talking about how when companies like BHP, they also look at credentials and value some specific capability or education. Would you think about doing that? And I said, so I probably should look at doing an engineering degree. He said, you could, but there's a lot of engineers out there, so you could do something different and maybe look at an MBA. And I said, okay. And he also suggested that I should look at my image as well.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll take that feedback on board.
Yeah.
And I was in the conversation, I was like, you know what, I'm on board with this. Let's do this. Let's start going in this pathway. So I took my earring out straight away and he goes, cool, I've already got you now.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so then I decided after that conversation to do an MBA. So I did full-time study.
Wow, for the 4 years. Was it 4?
No. It was because they had a program. This is through the Australian Institute of Business, which is done through University of Adelaide. Yeah. All online, but it was an intense program.
Wow.
I think it was like every month it was every 6 or 7 weeks you swap to the next subject. So there was an assignment and a 3.5-hour block exam.
Yeah.
It was just like intense, and retention was not high in terms of information retention. But I smashed it out in about 17 months.
Oh, wow.
And because I was working full-time, 2-in-1 day shift, night shift as a supervisor.
Yeah.
And doing the full-time stuff, I was melting, absolutely melting. I got to I think the fourth subject was like, I can't do this. It's
Yeah.
not sustainable.
And because were you production supervisor? So there's a
Yeah.
lot going on in your everyday role. It's not like you got downtime.
Yeah. Processing, production, and fixed plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty heavy.
Mm.
You know, I was fortunate enough to have a superintendent who was very supportive.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I don't need anything other than just if I need to fly out a day or come in a day late for the exam. And he was like, yeah, no worries, let's do that. So pay for the whole thing myself. That hurt the pocket a bit.
Wow. Yeah.
But I managed to do it.
Yeah.
And once I did it, a couple of things happened. Doors started opening up because I had all the experience that people wanted, or the different attitude and mindset that people wanted.
Yeah.
But I didn't have something to back it up. So that definitely changed things. And then while I don't remember bits and pieces, I can remember how to spell MBA. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think the only thing it really did for me was shift my mindset to business acumen.
Yes. Yeah.
And that really helped a lot through the rest of my mining career. And then that spurred me into becoming a superintendent.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the fixed plant and processing?
Yeah. So that was in processing. It's still split at this time.
Yeah.
I know there's different models across industry. But it was a processing superintendent, and it was in an area I was comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew the people, I knew the environment, I knew all the technical side to it. But now this is, hey, you're a leader, lead people.
Yeah.
So I spent all the time focusing on culture. And it was just because people skills naturally coming from, particularly from the police, and working, you know, we called it verbal judo.
Yeah.
Right. So you're always kind of navigating a conversation. So I was fortunate enough to have those skills and bring people, you know, on board that way. And I suppose that's around the time where I start to realize that, you know, I'm in a leadership capacity. But it never really actually dawned on me that I was actually considered or looked at as a leader. I'm such a slow learner until I actually got put in a situation for mentoring.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
That was really, really interesting to reflect on.
Cool. So, yeah, mentoring and outside of your team?
Well, yeah. It's so it's actually the first mentoring I've ever done. I may have done it indirectly, or, you know, just a few different conversations with people within teams.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a funny story, I suppose. I'm sitting in my office one day and I had a colleague who she was the superintendent in engineering in the governance team. And she came up to me and said, hey, I've got this team member who is interested in leadership. Would you be willing to have a chat with him? I said, yeah, no worries. And at first I'm thinking, why me? I'm not a leader, you know. But yeah, no worries. And that's kind of when I started to reflect and go, oh, okay, yeah, I suppose we are leaders, aren't we? You know, all kind of things are opening up here. And so he comes in and he has a chat. He sits down and says, how are you going? And this guy was just, I couldn't believe he was a graduate engineer. He was just so professional. Like, so, not that I'm saying they're unprofessional.
Yeah.
But he was just so professional, like just in terms of, I thought, wow, this looks like another superintendent from another department, just the way he carried himself and everything.
Yeah.
And so he came in, he sat down and we just spent a good hour or maybe even 2 hours just talking about kind of what we're doing now, where you've been, what you've learned, shared with me what his interests are and why he wants to go down a leadership path. And I just remember just being in awe of this kid, just going, wow, you are glued on. You know what you want to do. And it wasn't ambition. It was just drive and passion and enthusiasm. And you couldn't help but feel better for it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so shook his hand, no worries, great conversation. About an hour later, I got an email, a calendar invite for like 3 or 4 more meetings. And I'm like, just realized I've entered into a mentorship program.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, okay, this is how it works.
Yeah.
And he was great. Like, and I still keep in contact with him now.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's just been so brilliant. Like, it just opened my eyes to what mentoring is about. And it's like you're both student and teacher. It really doesn't matter who's who. It's just fantastic.
And it almost becomes like a friendship, the best mentoring, I think.
100%.
Do you reflect and think, you know, if you didn't have anyone formally, any mentors that have kind of helped shape your career?
Oh, yeah. Mentors and role models, absolutely. And I didn't really have them, or at least identify them till later on in life. So later on, maybe late 20s.
Yeah.
And there's a few people that come to mind. So probably the first one that was quite influential to me was actually a cop I used to work with.
Mm.
He came from Strathclyde in Scotland. He had the thickest Scottish accent. I think at first I struggled to understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
He actually had a choice between becoming a priest or a police officer. And yeah, I know, right? And he decided to go down the path of a police officer, obviously, because he thought he could help more people doing it. And it was cool. But what I learned from him, like he was the one that spurred me. While I've always had like a positive outlook and been an optimist and can-do kind of attitude, he was the one that really solidified that for me. And I remember having this conversation with him one day, and it was about because he shared with me that he was probably going to be a priest or a cop. And I said, I was quite agnostic. I said, how can you believe in God?
Yeah.
And he goes, how can I believe in God? How could you not? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, just look out the window. Look at the birds, look at the trees, look at the love between people. How could you not? And I just thought, wow, that's just so simple. And it really is not that profound, but it just made me think, you know what? Yeah, optimism, life is just perspective. If you look at it through a positive lens, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from him just in that one moment, and that stuck with me.
Yeah.
And then the rest actually came from mining.
Yeah, wow.
So there would be Dan Hill. I don't know if you know who Dan Hill is.
I obviously have heard of him. Isn't he?
He was the GM of Yandy once upon a time. He incredibly smart man. He's got more degrees than a thermometer.
Wow,
right?
yeah.
He's actually Dr. Dan something or other. He's probably studied everything that exists. He's just incredibly smart, but you never know, like, he's just very humble. He's just very calculated. He's got a great demeanor, and he's just a forward thinker.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I did to deserve it, but he's just been an absolute advocate for me. And I was just, I don't know why. Maybe it was the right attitude, I don't know. But whenever something presented that was a cool project or, a unique experience, he would always put me forward for it. And he became my best sponsor and advocate. And yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And one of the best leaders I've ever had, who is a role model, mentor, even now I keep in contact with her. So her name is Flavia Xavier. She's from Brazil.
Yeah.
I think she speaks like 4 languages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can barely speak English.
Yeah.
And just an amazing lady. She is just the epitome of humility, care, accountability. She, I think she has a chemical engineering background, and so she came into processing production as our manager. This is around the same time I became a superintendent. She was actually the one that promoted me.
Oh wow!
So I got a lot of time to work with her. But just I've tried to model my leadership off her as much as I could.
Amazing.
Yeah, just an incredible woman. And to give you an example of what she's like, if there was something that went wrong or, didn't work out as well, straight away she'd go, look, that's me, that's my department. I'm responsible for that. I'll fix it or whatever it might be. And on the flip side to that, whenever something went really well, even though you knew she was responsible for it, she'd never take the credit for it.
Wow.
She'd always be like, I appreciate that. That's great to hear. That's the team. The team done an amazing job. That's these leaders here.
Yeah.
It's ultimate humility. Like I could never speak highly enough for it. Yeah. And then the last one is actually convenient, is my managing director of Hindsight, which is Bram.
Yeah, Bram.
He is a weapon in more ways than one. Obviously, he's got a distinguished military background.
Yeah.
But he's also a very progressive thinker. He's definitely a forward thinker.
Yeah.
He absolutely nerds out on psychology. But he's also, it doesn't fit the traditional mold of a military officer. And I think that's because of his background in special forces. And so I'm learning an immense amount from him. And he kind of planted the seed for me a few years back when I met him in BHP. And we got to the point where we just got talking this year, and that's when I decided to
make the transition.
Yeah.
So I guess you wrapped up your mining career in a sense.
Yeah.
And jumped over to coaching. What did that look like? And were you nervous?
It's scary. Yes, I was nervous.
Letting go of the handcuffs, obviously.
It's also like, I don't know, maybe it's Australian culture, but our employment becomes part of our identity. And I went through it when I left the police, went through it when I left the army, and went through it when I left BHP. 15 years in BHP is a long time, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just in processing. Like it was in reliability engineering. It was in risk management. Went all over the place. And so
you'd spent time building your career there.
Right.
You know, like
and
I felt the
leave.
same when I left. It's like you'd put in all those years. That was your identity in a sense. Like
it's tough. It's really scary, I must admit. But you know, you do see all these posts that come up saying take risks and all that kind of stuff. And I've always loved the idea of running your own business. And, you know, I kind of think, oh, well, that's something I'll do when I leave BHP or retire or something. But when the opportunity presented and there was a whole heap of things happening all at once, I just felt that things were pointing me in this direction. And I love being a part of somebody's growth and helping them to succeed. It's just selfishly, it's so rewarding.
Yeah,
when
no,
you're part
100%.
of it. Yeah, of course you do. And so now I get to do it full time.
Yes.
You know, everything we do is about helping others grow. And it's like, I can't believe I do this for work now.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. And the irony is I'm actually doing the PHP training.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what does your day-to-day kind of look like as a coach?
It varies a lot. It varies a lot. I drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time catching up with people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we might talk around, you know, what kind of problems are you facing that you need help with? Or it might just end up being a mentoring conversation that spurs into something else. But what we spend most of our time doing is delivering workshops. So we will customize workshops to suit a team.
Yeah.
And that might vary from helping them grow into a high-performing team, building trust in the team, or helping create more accountability. Or it might just be team building related stuff. So it varies quite a lot. So day to day, I could be sitting there just working and building a specific program for somebody or their team. For example, I'm building one for another team in BHP right now that's for 30 people. And what's really cool about this one is they're not necessarily in the storming stage. They're in the stage where they want to get into more advanced, high-performing, you know, activities. So
cool.
Exactly. It's so unique.
It's and doing all the research, pulling in different resources. So good.
And there's two leaders there. That one's site-based, one's Perth-based. And so they're working on that interface between their teams and just making it more cohesive. Like such a unique challenge. Yeah,
exactly. And then, you know, when you're delivering the leadership workshops, what is kind of your favorite part about being
come up with a
facilitator?
favorite. There's so many things.
Yeah.
When you finish a workshop and you do the reflection and just to hear how much of an impact you've had on people, that's a high.
Yeah.
When they contact you afterwards and say, I really like this.
Yeah.
Do you have any other tips around this? And you share that with them or catch up with them with coffee, that's cool too. Every group starts off with, I don't know what to expect from this workshop.
Yeah.
So you kind of set a tone for the day just to break down those barriers and create a bit of psychological safety. And then from there it just snowballs.
Yeah.
And if you've got teams of people that don't usually work together, which is what we often do with companies like BHP or Rio, is they'll bring in leaders from different areas at the same level but don't necessarily work together.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing that'll ever beat that because you may bring the content and delivery in there, but you facilitate the conversations, of course. But the way they interact and learn from each other, it's like speed dating, mentoring.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so cool. And they always say the same thing. That's where they've seen the most value.
It's so funny you say that, like people contact you afterwards, because I did the course that you're delivering and Holly was my facilitator.
Holly's amazing.
I find obviously, you know, you're in operations every day, but once you go, like obviously I was in Port Hedland, flew to Perth, you know, and you get immersed in these types of things, you really do underestimate how much impact you can have as a coach. Because post doing the training, I reached out to Holly and started catching up with her afterwards, just because of like how inspiring I found her journey. I wanted her on the podcast and, you know, like bounce ideas off her. And she actually even texted me when she'd had her babies. So yeah, like it's funny that from just going to someone's course, like how much impact you can actually have.
Absolutely. And you've picked a great person there, Holly. I mean, I could listen to her speak all day. Just,
Yes.
soft English accent. And she's just a machine.
So smart too.
Oh, my gosh. I've learned so much from her.
Yeah. Beyond smart. So I know.
Her care is through the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
That gets to your point about, catching up with you afterwards. Oh,
yeah.
Amazing. There's amazing people everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I love your optimism. It's very contagious.
As long as it's not toxic.
Yeah, no. So I guess now, you're outside the gates and you're away from the mining world in sense of a day-to-day, very still connected to it. What do you think were some of your biggest challenges in the mining industry? Looking back on it, maybe personally or professionally.
There's lots. Lots. I mean, what can happen in 15 years?
And what have you kind of learnt about yourself that you've taken away from that experience?
Okay. What have I learned about myself and challenges? Well, I've learned the importance of being transparent and I've learned that I can do that naturally, which is really cool. But you also need to be conscious not to get distracted and make sure that is the most important thing. Your people are the most important thing as a leader. Yeah. No matter what your role is in an organization, no matter what the level is, that is probably the biggest takeaway is you should always put your people first. That's something that's been ingrained in since the military days, team before self. The police also ingrained in me, service to others. And it's all throughout leadership. You put your team forward first and make them the priority in terms of communicating, being transparent. It helps in many ways. Because some of the biggest challenges we face, and it's not just in mining, it's in every organisation, is change. Yeah. I used to say people really don't like change. It's actually not. People don't mind change. They don't like the uncertainty that comes with change. So the biggest lesson I've had is you need to be the one that provides clarity as much as you possibly can. And even as simply as saying, team, I don't know the answer to this. What I understand is this. Yeah. And what I make a commitment to you is as soon as I know more, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk to you and share it with you. Or I'm going to communicate it through an email or whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. And then you back it up. You do that because you build integrity, you're reliable, you build trust, and it really just helps put people at ease. And you'd be surprised. You get extra discretionary effort from people like that because they start to feel valued and heard. That's probably been the biggest lesson I've had. Yeah.
That's so good. Key takeaways. And so I guess now, what does your future look like and what are you working towards? What's your next steps, I guess? You're very is it this year that you've just started?
Yeah, I left in April.
Wow, April. Yeah. So it's very fresh.
Yeah, and then I had a few things put on my plate as soon as I left. I mean, geez, I got an offer for a group health and safety officer. I'm like, man, this is like, it paid a fortune. Yeah. I was like, no, I can't do. I've just come out of what I felt was burnout. I needed to change. And
is that why you made the change?
Well, I think that was probably a big catalyst for it. And I've got myself to blame for a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of organisational factors that come into play too, and you don't realise this at the time. That the hardest part is seeing it yourself. You can recognise it in others. Yeah, a lot easier than you can in yourself. Right, our own worst enemies. Yeah. But I also have to thank Bram for that because he helped me recognise it too, and that was probably a really big factor in play too, and. You think about starting your own business for different reasons, but Bram gave me the opportunity to really be entrepreneurial with a bit of a safety net of coming on board full time, right? So it was kind of a win-win scenario. I get to focus on what I really wanted to try and test out with coaching and mentoring. Yeah. Without going full risk mode, and potentially failing and all that sort of stuff that comes with it. But you got to fail to learn too, right? So that was kind of the thinking at the time. So but to be very conscious about it, and I had a lot of advice when I left BHP. There was a few people that reached out to me that I hadn't heard from in years. One of them was a former GM of Yandy, actually, Paul Hembrow. And I will forever be in debt for the conversation I had with him. he just gave me a huge amount of insight that life outside BHP is huge. You know, there is life outside it.
Yeah.
And you know, there's so much that BHP have given me that I can take with me forever. Like they've built so much capability. So what I did was I took about 2 months off, just doing nothing, like really just going to the gym, you know, playing sport, whatever it was, writing. I got it back into writing again.
Yeah.
I love writing. And then caught up with Bram again, and then I found myself kind of just facilitating a couple of workshops with BHP at the time, and I was like, man, I love this stuff. I want to be here for these supervisors, these leaders.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm aboard. If we're going to be doing this, I'm with it. And even just last week, we were in Port and facilitated another supervisor workshop, and just so many great people out there. And just, I look at them now, I was like, man, I wish I was like you when I was a supervisor. Just you really just keen to learn and evolve your leadership style. And so when I look at that, I think I want to do this forever. Who knows what's around the corner? But if it ends up being sustainable, which I really believe it is, it's growing rapidly.
Yeah.
Then absolutely I will do this forever.
Yeah, because I was even just saying to you, like, I'm desperate for a mentor too. Some people just need that guidance, and it's not like, you know, a counselor. It's like a coach, like somebody that can be your, you know, person you call to get you to that next level that you want to be at. Absolutely. And there's such a need for it at the moment, especially with all the life pressure.
Oh, we are in the most complex time, and leading through this is very challenging. And you've just nailed it. Like, I wish I reached out to a couple of people when I was a maintenance manager to say, hey, look, can you be my mentor? And like you were saying before, you know, people are a bit too busy. They probably want to help, but they just don't feel like they have the capacity for it. But I wish I pushed that a bit harder and found somebody, maybe even brought on a coach. Yeah. You know, hindsight, I probably should have brought on Bram, you know. But look, it's definitely something that I think people need to be aware of that is quite valuable. And I don't necessarily frame it as mentoring or a mentor or a coach. I like to frame it as a cheerleader. Yeah. You know, somebody that keeps encouraging you along the way and helps build your confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's probably the biggest feedback I get from people is, you know, I want ways to improve my confidence, be more confident. And that's like 80% of the population.
Yeah.
Want that. You know, the ones that don't are probably narcissists. You know?
So, exactly.
And so, you know, whether it's mentoring or coaching, helping somebody see their strengths and, you know, be able to foster that and just release them into the world and, you know, just, it's so rewarding. I'll never harp on it enough, I suppose. But being that person that cheers somebody on is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how do you juggle your life outside of work and, you know, still avoiding burnout? Or like, I guess the question probably is more from that stage of feeling burnt out, what have you now implemented it into your daily life to have a bit more of a work-life balance?
Great question. I actually learned of a cool model. Right, it's actually an acronym.
Tell me, because I need it.
Well, you know, it's so simple, and some of it's so obvious. You just need to have these things in the forefront of your mind to remind you. Yeah. So it's an acronym STOP. Yeah. And so S is like shut down. Shut down. Like, you need to have your boundaries in place for work. You need to shut down work, shut down your laptop, shut down the phone. Easier said than done for a lot of people. Yeah. Because when you're in a single point accountability, you feel a lot of pressure and obligation. You need to have these clear boundaries and you need to make sure people are aware what they are. Yeah. And you'd be surprised actually how people take that on board. I know I can't contact them at this point, so I'll contact them here. But we feel obligated to answer that phone. So you absolutely need to shut things down and start through disconnection. Yeah. Right, so that's the S. The T is the take. So you need to take time to recognize and celebrate your wins. Yeah. Absolutely. There's a lot of psychology behind just even celebrating small wins. Yeah. There's a great YouTube video about making your bed. Yeah, right? Yeah. And that's a start, right? There's a win straight away. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but just small things can make a big difference. Even starting your day with the task that you don't want to do and completing it can have a huge impact on your mindset. Yeah. Then there's O, which is offload mentally. I was going to say mentality. Offload mentally. And that's like a great activity there is your journaling.
Mm.
You might find, have you ever made lists where you write them all down?
I list every day.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
And how good does it feel when you write it down and you go, well, there's actually probably not that much I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was more.
Mm.
So you can do that, or you can just journal and then scrunch it up and throw it in the bin. That's a good way to just offload what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
And then the last one is presence or present, and doing an activity that brings your mind to right now, so you're not really worried about the future or thinking about the things that have gone wrong in the past. You bring your mind to the present. And some people do meditation as an example. I'm a huge fan of things like sensory deprivation, like a float tank, turning the lights off, turning the noise off.
Yeah.
But I also love axe throwing. Right, that's cool.
Very good.
Yeah, because you're focusing on not cutting your fingers off rather than anything else, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. The other thing you can do that is very effective is in your calendar, block out 30 minutes and just have silence and no interruptions. That can be a game changer as well.
Yeah, wow. I need to do all of these things.
But you can recognize somebody who's on the way to burnout, like I said, a lot easier than you can yourself. And I'm by no means an expert at it.
Yeah.
But I do understand, having been through it, where I've seen it in colleagues too and was able to help. And it's usually some obvious things were like fatigue. You can see people seem a lot more tired than they usually are. You might find that their cynicism increases. They become a lot more cynical or withdrawn.
Yeah.
Their motivation wanes and they're just disconnected. And that can be some signs of stress and burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's easier to prevent it than it is to recover from it.
Yeah.
You can recover, it just takes longer. Yeah.
I've seen some burnouts before. I feel like probably have experienced it as well. But yeah. It's good that I'm going to take into consideration your stop metaphor, because it's so true. Even just the separation part, and having actual time that you block out to not be on all the time is such a hard thing, especially as a business owner.
Yeah, you've got to be deliberate. As a business owner, you can find it even more challenging to disconnect.
Yeah.
Because if you work from home, you don't leave the office.
No.
Right. So it can make it very hard. I can't even talk. It can make it very hard. Yeah.
So good. Okay, cool. Well, before we wrap up today, what would be your one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that might be listening, thinking about a career change, potentially from, the police or the army into mining?
The advice I'd give to a career change or consideration of career change, you have to trust your gut. Go with your gut, because your gut is usually right. But just try and understand whether your gut is telling you to change because you think you want that change and try something different, or is it because the environment you're in you're not really enjoying? Because they can be two different things. You might be running away from something versus exploring a new avenue.
Yeah.
So you need to understand what those motivators are first.
Yeah.
If it's the environment you're in, you need to change the environment. That might be somewhere else within the company, different leaders, etc. But if you're looking at a career change, the best advice I had was from Flavia years ago. I actually, and I've applied this many times in many conversations like this. So she was an engineering background, and I barely could spell spreadsheet. So she said she shared her own experience where she was at a crossroad. Actually wrote a newsletter about this recently. And so what you do is you write down a list of all the things that are important to you, whether it's, and be as granular as you can, finances, growth, specific leadership style, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so you write all those things down. And then as you go across, you put down your options of a pathway. Is it this role? Is it this company or whatever? And then you just simply mark them off. If you're really detailed, you could probably score them 1 to 5 and work out a number for it. But I just went through and ticked it off. And that's when I was at a crossroad I was at Yandy in processing, and I'd kind of outgrown where I was. I wasn't growing myself, and I thought I needed a change. And my options were going down to IROC, which I thought to me was the one I thought was the right one.
Yeah.
as it turns out, it was the right one for the business, not necessarily for my growth. Then I had another option, which was going into the OS. It was a whole new thing at that particular time.
Yes.
I can't recall what that role specifically was, but I thought that could be a cool option as well. Something different, build a whole new team, etc. And then I had a third option that presented, which was fixed plant maintenance, reliability engineering. Big mouthful.
Yeah.
And so that presented there, and I thought, well, that's much the same, surely. And then I did this exercise, and it took the emotion out of the equation and put logic in front of me. And to my surprise, the engineering superintendent role ticked almost all the boxes.
Wow.
So I went with that, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I had a fantastic team. We built so much trust. We were so effective. And even now I keep in contact with everybody in that team.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that is a great approach for taking emotion out of it and just going with logic.
Yeah, so good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. If people want to learn more about Hindsight Leadership and the courses that you guys run, how do they find out?
Well, they can go to our website or happy for them to email me directly at scott@hindsightleadership.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. Love the chats and the inspiration and most importantly, the optimism.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on too. I love what you're doing. This is so cool for everybody to learn from.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.